Welcome to the Skavic Graph platform. The objective of this demonstration is to explain the workings of the tasking utilities and processes in the Skavic Graph platform. A proprietary methodology has been developed to complement the tasking module of the platform. It is designed to ensure default conformance to a structured workflow considered as best practice on the platform. The processes are that of process preliminaries, collecting, archiving and ordering the domain subject matter materials according to the methods and practices within the respective domain. Process rationalize, done in the portal publisher in the admin web portal, formulating the linguistic model, drafting the specification of the illustrations of the domain subject matter known as the design strategy. Process visualize, done in the designers in the studio publisher, composing the graphic model, implementing the design strategy of the illustration of the domain subject matter. For effective workload manageability, each batch of work to be done should be defined as a project with its own target date and status flags. A project will furtherly consist of 3 primary tasks with their respective task items featuring as notes which are to be attended. Those 3 primary tasks are assigned to the worker's intranet where they can maintain its status or add further notes for clarification or definition of requirements. The project lifespan and current phase is conveniently portrayed in the project timeline within the repository dashboard in the admin web portal. In the project timeline, a task status will indicate which phase the project is currently undergoing as the task itself handles that very phase. The manager or expert probably have access to the domain materials and must make it available through online archiving services in an appropriate format in the preliminary process task. The expert has an intimate understanding of the domain and is therefore the ideal candidate to be responsible for the linguistic model defining the domain in the rational process task. The designer has intimate understanding of the elements of design but not the domain and is therefore the ideal candidate to be responsible for the graphic model visualizing the domain in the visual process task. The creation of a project and all of its associated tasks and notes along with assignment thereof, will be demonstrated now. Please pay attention to the title prompts appearing below, indicating the purpose of the specific phase in the demonstration. workflow in the platform tasking intuitively follows the natural progression during the process of defining and presenting concepts and constructs within a domain, regardless of which industry it resides in. It is critical and considered best practice to adhere to the sequence of the workflow of the processes, as each will depend on the results of the previous process. The preliminary process will most likely be performed by the repository manager or domain expert, done in the manner that is appropriate to the domain's eccentricities. The assets the preliminary task is to deliver are the articles for text and preliminary imagery for the compositional elements, namely symbols, and compositions, namely the symbologies. The rational process will most likely be performed by the domain expert, done in the manner dictated by the sequential workflow in the narrative and symbolism designers in the admin web portal. The assets the rational task is to deliver are the graphic specifications to be used as the design strategies. The visual process will be performed by the designer, done in the manner dictated by the sequential workflow in the symbology and context designers within the studio publisher. The assets the visual task is to deliver are the symbols, symbology and contexts conforming to the design strategy. The accessing and browsing of the tasks typically relevant to the user's expertise and role will be demonstrated now. Please pay attention to the title prompts appearing below, indicating the purpose of the specific phase in the demonstration.